Hello everyone, this is James Shore with another test-driven JavaScript video. I'm recording this on September 17th, 2012, and picking up right where we left off in the last episode. And what we were doing at the end of the last episode was trying to deploy our code to Heroku. However, it didn't work because our package.json file, Heroku didn't like it. And I was able to reproduce that issue by running npm install locally. It said it didn't like it, and it failed to parse the JSON. And that's really no surprise. I left out a comma. So there's that. But also I didn't really do it thoroughly. So it still doesn't like it. All kinds of problems. So let's go through and fix this. So there's a lot of stuff in the package.json, and it's really geared to people who are writing npm modules, which is great. That's what it's meant for. But we're not writing an npm module, and I think Heroku, depending on it, is actually a mistake. These are different things for different purposes. For example, it's got this prefer global. That means nothing for Heroku. But we've got to work with what we've got. So the things that are really required are the name, which is going to be WikiPaint, and the version, which is not relevant for Heroku but is required for npm. So let's try this. And this is why I wanted to use Nodejitsu, because it doesn't do this stuff. It just deploys what you've got. Okay, so there we go. It is working. So let's go back into our getting started guide and try deploying again. See what happens. I'm still worried that it's going to complain about our node modules. That's interesting. So the version of npm we're using doesn't match. So let's go ahead and update. They do have 1.149. I guess in order to update that, I would have to install a newer version of Node. Well, I hate doing that, but it shouldn't even be using npm. Of course, I think it is going to, but let's try this. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, what do we have here? It's installing our dependencies. It looks like that's working. Just bringing over our node modules directly. Good. It looks like it may have worked. Okay, so now let's look and see what we have next. So we do have one dyno running. Good. So now, if we look at our logs, it looks like it's up. So let's see if it worked. Awesome. Awesome. So that's running online. So let's write a test. Of course. Let's see. So we're not doing node env. We're not doing anything with that yet. That's an Express framework thing, and we're not using the Express framework yet. So yeah. Yep. Okay. So we've got this up and running. We didn't write a test for it yet. I probably should have done that first to do it test driven, but honestly, when I'm learning something new, I will often spike it first and then write a test. So we can consider this a spike. So we've got it up and running. Now let's prove it by making another smoke test. And actually, this smoke test is a local smoke test. Now we need to do a remote smoke test. I'm going to start by, it's going to, as usual, it's going to start out a little bit messy. I think what I'll do is I'll just make a little test called release test. And what I'm thinking here is that we're going to want to make sure that this is actually running on the web. So say test is on web. And the way we're going to do that is we don't need to do the run server. We don't need to do the tear down. All we need to do is just go to wikipaint.herokuapp.com, I think. Yes. And see that our homepage marker is there. And what this test is doing is just making sure that we're online. And it's just that simple. So we don't need to test the 404 page. We've tested that elsewhere. Don't need to test the proc file. So I think it's going to be that simple. Yeah. And if we stop it, let's see, actually, I don't know how to stop it. No, I guess it automatically restarts it when you stop it. Yeah. So I think the way we stop this is to say web equals 0. There. Now there's no webs. Still coming back. No, there we go. Just took a moment. So, yep, no application. So now if I run our test, it fails. It is not on the web. But we can make it put it back on the web by setting that to 1. And now we're on the web. Okay, great. We are, I think, pretty much done with deployment. There's still some stuff to do. For example, we have a lot of duplication here, and especially this HTTP GET command is duplicated all over the place. And we also have our deployment is not really automated. So that needs to be done. Let's actually go ahead and do that. So let's write. Now, I'm going to start out, as I often do, by just making this a little script. We're going to, of course, want this to depend on sort of our default test everything. But after that, we can just document how that we want this to work. So we'll make sure get status is clean. We will then run Heroku or git push Heroku. And then I think that's it. I think after that, what we want to do is we want to test the release. And the way we would do that, we don't actually necessarily need to be testing the release every time we run our tests. We just need to test that it's working occasionally after a push. So I guess what we'll do is we'll modify our Jake file to run that release test. So let's say run Jake release test. So yeah, So do we want to check this every time? I don't think so. So let's actually exclude that from test everything. It still came through. Why is that? Some sort of weird glitch, I guess. I don't know. But so we've excluded that. So now what I'd like to do is just do a simple smoke test of the release. Actually, you know what? This is too much. Let's go ahead and just leave that in there for now because we're out of time and it's time to get to the client stuff. So this is working. There is a lot of messiness here. It's not terrible, but we've got our duplication in HTTP GET. There's some stuff that could be cleaned up, but I think it's time for us to move on to the server or to the client. So we will come back to this next time we get to the server. We'll start doing the cleanup. And this is normal. You know, as when you first start, at least for me, when you first start programming something and you don't understand it very well, you'll often create kind of a mess as you're figuring it out. And then you clean it up as you go, and then you leave it for a little while. And when you come back, you know, your brain's sort of been working on it in the background, and you see lots of opportunities to clean it up. And that's a good time to clean it up. As long as you make the time to clean things up as you discover issues, it's okay to leave a bit of a mess here and there. So I do see some issues here. I think that it's very important for the series and for everybody who backed this on Kickstarter that we get to the client-side stuff. So although we could spend a couple of episodes on cleanup, and that would be useful and valuable stuff to do, I think it would be even more valuable to get to the client side. So we've got this deploying to Heroku. Awesome. We still have to do the WeWikiPaint domain name. I'm going to do that offline because that's something that has to go through to my domain server stuff. And we have to, and then we will get on to the client side stuff. So I think we have published this to the internet. We need to fix the DNS, which I'll do offline. We've published it to the internet, got our marketing homepage. It's time to get to this. So thanks for watching, everybody. That's what we're going to do next time, and I will see you then.